But Jim, let's talk about something we talked a little bit about earlier. AEW All In at Wembley Stadium, the pre-sale. It was 35 earlier. It is now over 40,000 tickets that have been sold.
Ho!
Tony Khan on Twitter, and rightly so, has been in a celebratory mood. This is great news for his company. This is a pretty amazing pre-sale.
Let's face it, it's jaw-dropping. It's jaw-dropping based on the fact that this has turned into multiple times what was the original All In, multiple times that was a movement amongst fans and like, fuck the big guys, we're going with the new kid on the block, we're going with our sentimental favorite, and they're doing it again on an even bigger scale. It's fascinating.
Well, apparently a reporter from ESPN, he covers boxing, Mike Coppinger, hope that's how you pronounce his last name, it could be a hard G, you never know. Hearing Wembley is scaled for only 40,000 for AEW. Far cry from last April when I was ringside for Tyson Fury versus Dillian White, and it was packed to the brim with 94,000. Nothing beats the big fight feel at Wembley.
Well, okay, that was kind of, I will admit, a backhanded way to look at things for poor old AEW there when you say, well, I was there and when, the Stones played in Rio and there were 200,000 people there boxing and the hometown, home country hero Tyson Fury may not necessarily be the proper application to a wrestling show.
Well, Tony Khan responded on Twitter, since you carry the credentials of a credible reporter and represent the worldwide leader, I'm just curious, who is your source for this? And how can a reporter representing ESPN tweet something about a legit news story that's so blatantly wrong and easily verified as a falsehood? So there's Tony Khan smacking back a little bit, and I don't have any problem with that, actually. Do you?
No, that was the good one. I think that was right to the point, but he did another one, didn't he?
Tony Khan responded again, lies, all in caps. What a load of crap. Tell your agent, Nick Khan, to shove it up his ass.
Okay, that's where we almost got, again, the closest thing Tony has ever come to like a Vince McMahon presidential, like, head of the company tweet. Well, here you call yourself a journalist, and these are obviously lies that are verifiable elsewhere. He sounded professional, and he comes back and said, by the way, tell Nick Khan to shove it up his ass.
On the same tweet, I believe. He's responding to the same tweet that he wrote the other message. Well, let's discuss this. In general, I don't have a problem with someone defending their business from lies or anything like that. I think that's a good thing. Do you have a problem with that, with Tony being the owner, the GM, the head of creative, the janitor, everything he does for AEW? In that role, do you have a problem with someone in that role responding to a reporter? In general, let alone the way he did in the first or second tweet.
No. And first of all, this guy is not even, I assume he covers boxing. He might be a real journalist somewhere, right? And just dipped in with his point of view. So it's not like that Tony is arguing on Twitter with a guy that has 116 followers or something and writes a blog somewhere.
No, the guy has 100,000 followers, so he has an audience.
Okay, so he's a voice, and he said something that apparently, as now we see, they've sold 40,000 tickets. You can open up more seats, right? So anyway, the guy was not only incorrect in his tweet, but also a little fucking condescending. So the first one you read was great. And I was like, yeah, Tony, there you go. That's the way to put somebody in their place and sound like the owner of the company. But then and by the way, tell Nick Khan, his chief rival, right? One of the main major domos in the WWE. Did you even see Vince McMahon There wasn't Twitter, but there was America Online or whatever in 1997. Did Vince ever say, by the way, tell Eric Bischoff to shove it up his ass?
If Vince McMahon had Twitter in 1996, do you think we would have seen, forget about Bischoff, would we have seen some tweets, fuck you, Ted Turner?
No, we wouldn't have. See, that's the thing. He went from one extreme to the other. And like, I can tell people to shove it up their ass on Twitter because I'm the president and CEO and chief creative officer for Jim fucking Cornette. Right? So I can say, because I'm speaking for myself. But when Tony is supposed to be the head of the company, he's running Wembley Stadium. Is there I know there's been the Billy Martins and the loose cannons in the baseball world, but do any of the Major League Baseball owners tell owners of their competitive teams to shove anything up their ass or fuck you on Twitter?
I don't believe that's ever happened. I don't think they could get away with saying it to a journalist even. I think they would probably get suspended or some kind of issue with Major League Baseball. I'm not quite certain, but you don't see that. Again, it's a different kind of operation because there is a commissioner overseeing the league. But I guess to your point, you don't see the commissioner saying, stick it up your ass.
Yeah.
To someone from the New York Post.
Stick it up your ass, stick it up your ass, stick it up your ass. But see, that's the thing is Tony is, again, he's done so many of these, wild-eyed statements and announcements. He has the hug fests at the media scrums that leads to the embarrassing freeze frames where it makes him again look childlike. And just some of the way he's done things when he's been on camera in a public eye before. And then again, sooner or later, the blind squirrel finds a nut. He's talking not only to a journalist, but he is referencing, and did he at Nick Khan or just mention his name, or did he put his, well, I'm sure Nick will hear about it and probably fucking bust out laughing, the kid. But Tony all of a sudden has an opportunity to honestly, truthfully put a journalist who issued or made a incorrect statement in his place. And then he follows it up because he's so mad. Also, the petulant child comes out and tell Nick Khan to shove it up his ass. Fuck.
We saw this a little bit with the Ariel Helwani situation with Tony, where after the fact, I think it was after the fact, but Tony talked about the fact that Ariel had been represented by Nick Khan. He thought that's why he was getting a hard time in his eyes. Once again, we're seeing it here. A reporter, I presume, represented by Nick Khan before he became the president of WWE. Tony's coming there with this. Do you think there's anything there that's legit? I mean, the fact that Nick Khan is the competition. Do you think Tony's reasonable in thinking that maybe some of his former clients are doing some, work for him, or not work, but doing his bidding, I guess?
Well, if they've had a previous relationship, too many pronouns, pal, being Nick Khan and this meningitis character. What's his name?
Mike Coppinger or
Coppinger. Coppinger falls. Slowly I turned. Maybe they're friends, and maybe the journalist says, well, this guy, my friend Nick, runs a bigger company. And so he took a shot, and Tony had the material and the delivery on the first one to slap him down and put in. It would have been wonderful there. It doesn't matter what. Yes, the guy's probably taken up for his friend. I don't think Nick Khan specifically told this one guy. When you imagine the number of important people that Nick Khan knows is in his social circle, in his business circle, I don't think he just told this guy, hey, if I could take a shot at Tony Khan. The guy's probably doing it freelance and got slapped down. But then Nick Khan and his ass has to be brought in and things have to be shoved up it. And that's what I am laughing at, because that's what then took one of Tony's few public triumphs and turned it into a fucking rib again.
And he says, tell Nick Khan. Is he supposed to call Nick Khan? And by the way, I was just having an out with Tony on Twitter.
Yeah, he says, take this shit and shove it up his ass. Or shove it up your ass.
This idea. He's saying, take your idea and shove it up your ass.
Yeah.
But I don't have a problem in general. I mean, again, the way you do it, you want to, there's an art to it. But I don't have a problem in general with Tony like the people who just think Tony shouldn't say anything ever to defend his company on Twitter. I don't think that's right. I think he should be able to.
Well, yes, except honestly, I understand the reason why some people may say Tony should never say anything on Twitter, because sometimes he comes off like Tony. But in theory and in principle, yes, if you are the owner of the company or the owner of anything or anybody, you should be able to have the right to defend yourself or state your case, especially if somebody's given misinformation out. But when you attain a certain status of, being a boss of a multi-million-dollar company, or, for example, these batshit insane fucking politicians who are elected for some reason because many stupid people identify with them and they have to blurt things out. There should be some level of professionalism involved as you attain some type of status, instead of just going in being a monkey and flinging shit at the walls. Or just being like me and don't give a shit, but I'm only talking for me.